we are going to be filtering by categories and Butler products. This setup is going to require CMS Nest. So not only are we going to filter, I think we may also do some load. We're also going to nest, and nest has been something that people are asking about all the time. So we are going to cover this. Penny, is this something that has over 100 items here? 71.
71, yeah.
Okay, so do you think that that will ever go over 100, or is it always going to be around this 71?
It could go over 100.
Okay, so we'll set you up for growth then. It'll just, the setting will be there for when there is over 100 and it will just work. So first, before we get started, let's copy this script to the head of the page. This one's easy to forget. We are getting some support requests in and people just are not doing that. I always do it as a first thing. We're going to look at a native Webflow nested collection, and then we're going to use this one as nest. So let's start first with the native nested. We are going to nest project categories inside our projects. So let's go and do this. Collection list, link to the project category, and the project category is going to have text link here. Okay, connected to the name. Great. Now we've chosen this one as the nested instead of this one because there are no items that have more than 5 here. So this does fit into the nested, the native nested Webflow setup. This does not. This can have more than 5, so it just doesn't qualify. So let's now go and get just this working. We're not going to jump into the nested part yet, the attributes nested part. Let's go and do the same thing that we did. FS, you know what? I'm not going to type it. I'm going to go in the docs. This is the best way to do it because you're going to mistype something and it's going to be frustrating. So just go to the docs, copy it, and then you have a very easy list waiting for you. Great. And let's do the same thing for this surrounding filter wrapper. So let's make sure we understand this. We have all of our filter UI elements. We have our search, our clear, our checkboxes, everything. They're all inside a filter. That filter needs an attribute of filters, CMS filter element filters. So we have it on our list. We have it on our filters. Now we're going to start to make the relationship between this filter UI and the content within that item. I'm going to go and back to the docs. I will go and grab this FS CMS filter field identifier. Let's go add that as a name, and the value is an identifier. This means something that is clear as to what it's for. It's like an ID that you use that represents what this is. So this is going to be our services. And now we're going to make that relationship in here with services. So I'll add the same exact thing. Now, let's just run a quick test. I think this is going to work as is, just this sidebar of filtering categories. And you can see Penny has the submit button in here. And what this means is we're going to have to press this submit button in order for the filter to filter, in order for the list to filter. And Penny, while we're waiting, do you want that? Do you want the submit buttons that has to be pressed?
No, I actually kind of left it for you so that you could have this conversation about whether submit needs to be there or not.
Perfect. I'm glad you did that. We'll watch the submit button work, and then we'll look at how to turn that off.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, let's load up this page. And if I go and choose re-roofing and renovations, and I submit this, it's going to now filter. So that worked. Renovations, re-roofing, renovations, renovations. They all have either renovations or re-roofing. Let's go and just do re-roofing, and there we go. So this is working. This is, yeah, we nailed it. Great. Warehouse
Yay.
and logistics. Perfect. Okay, now that was the easy part. Now let's go into also an easy part, but not as easy. It's going to be the CMS nest. CMS nest is going to feel a little weird on your first implementation, maybe a little less weird on your second implementation, but after the second one, you're going to be a pro. It's really not that difficult once you understand the steps. So before we do any filter stuff, let's first get this information inside the item. I'm going to open up the nest documentation and see what we have to do here. First, copy the script. I'll go in here and paste it in the head. Much like the identifier in the filter where we are creating relationships, we need to do the same thing with nests. We need to create a relationship between the CMS item and what it's going to be nested into. Okay, we have FS CMS nest element. This is on the list. So we're going to apply it to the same list that receives our nest. So we go and put that right here on the same list that's being filtered. Great. Now back to here. Nest collection here. This is now nested inside list. Look how we're trying to represent this inside the docs. We have our list nested inside of it. We need this div block, which is going to be the target to add the nested collection items. So I'll copy this and we'll look at what this is. This is a blank div with an identifier value. So we will go inside this project item and I'm going to add a div block with this exactly. We'll go and add the collection, and this identifier should be, I don't know, what are we filtering by? This froze
that
on
was
me. Okay, Butler products, Butler
something.
products. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Butler products. Let's make sure we have this spelled correctly. Butler products. Okay. Great. That step is complete. Now let's go to the collection to nest. This is going to be the collection list that will be the source of the content, and it will be placed inside this list. It's going to be put in the place of this div block. So this is just a placeholder of where we want the real content to go. So I'm going to go and add a collection list above, below, anywhere on the same page as my list. And we're going to add the same attribute that we did, again, making this relationship, CMS nest, collection, categories. So I will go here on the page. Let's reduce everything. This will go on the very bottom of the page. This is going to be removed from the page. You can display none it. It's just there to be put somewhere else. Okay. This is for our Butler products. Nice. Okay. And now before we forget, let's add this attribute to it. CMS nest collection, and we have our Butler products. Great. Okay. Important step. We have to place a text link inside this item. It doesn't have to be the primary visible element, but it needs to be inside this item. We need to be able to read which page it goes to.
Okay.
So we're going to go to the current Butler page. We need to know where this is in our CMS. This is the name, and great. So this is actually going to cut and paste into these boxes. Every single one of these items will get its own list, just like you would expect in a native nested collection. So that's it for this step. We have this complete. This is all we need. Now, the last step, and this is where we're seeing the most people fail in their implementations of Nest. This is by far the official step that everybody does not do. Collection on template. I want this collection list to be the hidden source on the template page. This needs to make the same relationship that we are making. We're going to go to the template page of our primary list. We have our projects. So I'll go to the template page of projects. Here inside projects, we can go in the body and we can go and add this collection list. This collection list needs to have a reference collection here. So we have our project fields. It is a multi-reference, and we're going to select that. And we do the same exact thing that we did in the last step. Same thing. We'll go to the list. We'll go to the attributes, and we will call this the Butler products. And same as the last step, we need to go and add this text link, not URL. We need to go to the current Butler product, and we'll just get some visibility on the name here. This doesn't matter in terms of styling. This is completely hidden. It's not going to be cut or copied or pasted anywhere. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and hide this. Goodbye. That's it. Now let's go back to this page, and I want to say that we are ready to check this work here. We haven't implemented anything with filter yet. We've just implemented the nest. So what we would expect here is for the nest, this nested list, this list of orange links to show up in each of the items. And let's go see if that happened. Okay, there we go. Look at that. So we have nested items here. We can have as many as we want. This one has 5. I want to see a 6. It works with 6. I don't see 6 here, but
I'm not sure if there's any that have 6.
Okay. It works with regardless how many items you have. The point is, this is working. We have a nested collection here. And I'm going to open up Inspector just so you understand what is actually in here. We have our nest collection just like we have in Webflow. This is the Webflow dynamic list that we have no class on. This is where we added the attribute CMS Nest Collection Butler Products. And then we have our CMS items. It's literally copy and pasting this to this list here. So before we move on, let's just confirm that, and we'll get a little bit of a different layout to make sure that we are looking at this the way we want to. I'm going to just give a prefix here so it's clear what we have. FS nest list. I'm just going to call it here. And we'll give a horizontal. Let's wrap this list. And we're not going to go official design here. I just want to show you that now this flex setting on this list down here is going to be reflected up here. So now we're going to see all of these links go from a vertical list to a horizontal flex list.
Okay.
So you do your stylings down here, and whatever you put here is going to be copy and pasted to every single one of these.
There's a question here from WKD saying, let's say I have a big collection hidden like that for reference purposes. Does the browser still load it?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. The browser is going to load that list of tags.
And that's how it's getting it, right? It's got to load that in order to inject it as those list elements. So whether you're doing it one way or as like actually nested list there, like the browser's got to load that data to display it. So, yeah.
Does it slow it down at all in the load?
No, this is not something that's going to have a significant impact on your load. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
If you have a giant list, it's possible. If you have multi-thousand item list, yeah. I mean, anytime you're putting thousands of elements on the page, there is something with page speed. But Penny, at the size of your list, the 70 items, no, this is not something that I would be concerned about for speed. So let's check this You know what? I think this actually isn't, I'm glad this happened. I don't think that this is wrapping because these titles are too long. These names are actually too long and it's not going to
Push it
wrap
to the next line anyway.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, let's, let's just keep working. We'll prove it with this. On the next load, we'll see that. But this is good. Our nest is now working. Now let's connect filter to it. Let's confirm it works, and then we'll hide everything.
Okay.
Okay. Now we need to go back to filter. So we finished our nest implementation, but we still need the filter. We already have this applied. We already did this in the first step. We now need this field identifier step. And we're going to copy this and we're going to apply it to these checkboxes. Here, Penny has 3 different lists. They are separate lists, but they are all from the same collection, Butler products. So we're going to go to each list and go apply this. Butler products, excellent. Zoom in one here. We'll go Butler products.
So they all get the same identifier.
You need the same identifier, yes. They're going to be searching through the same list. And again, Butler products. Okay, great. So now that's applied to all 3 of these columns. And now what we want to do is do that same thing to our newly nested list. Here we go. We have this right here. We're going to apply that same attribute here. Because remember, this is actually going to be inside that list. So now we can search for that information. Butler products. Excellent. Okay, so we have this background we're going to check. We're going to check that the filter is working. And let's also hide this submit button. So we were pressing submit to check. We have the option to completely remove it from the build or hide it. If you hide it, it will not, attributes will see it as not there. It gives you the option to not have it for desktop and have it for mobile, or have it for desktop and not have it for mobile. So that's why we went with the display option. But if you never ever want this feature, you can just remove that element completely from the page. Okay, so let's go and publish. And the rest of the steps are fairly quick. Penny, when we search through this, what would you like to search for? Would you like to search for categories and Butler products?
I'm thinking more. I'm thinking the name of the project, actually.
Sure, just the name.
Oh, can we search for more than one thing?
Of course, you can search for whatever you want. We can do name and category. We could do name and Butler products, all 3.
This is like
Totally
Burger
up to
King.
you.
You can have it your way, you know.
Yeah, really. Well, you know, technically all 3 would be probably the most useful to the to my client.
Cool. Let's see if the publish went through. We don't know if the publish went through, so we'll check.
And I just want to say, what other agency, what other group, what other anybody's out there literally saying, hey, other people who are building Webflow sites, come on over. We're going to build your filter systems for you. And also it's for free and we'll update it as we go, kind of thing, you know, as you'll get more features as the product evolves. So, you know, just smash that like button out there if you're watching and you're getting any value out of this, for sure.
Yeah, this is wonderful. This would have taken me an awful lot longer to figure out the first time.
This is working exactly as intended. MR24 roof system. Let's switch to this. We have the low profile re-roof system. This is working. All 3 columns are returning exactly as we want them to. So perfect. We're in.
And shout out to Alex Iglesias for putting all this together. Shout out to the whole Finsweet technical team and everybody for this, because it's fun to just watch it happen so quickly. You know, it's
It's very cool.
Yeah, Joe's helping me in the Slack with this exact same solution. So yeah, very relevant
There,
case. There you go.
there we go. Yeah, Matisse, I am thinking of you. I just responded that I sent him here to watch this because he has the same use case.
Come now,
So
we're
great.
talking
I'm glad
about it
you're here.
right now.
So let's look at this in the docs, more attributes to use. We have a search field one. It gets the same exact attribute that we've been applying everywhere, but we have a little bit of a superpower with this search field where we can comma separate what we want it to search for. And we can comma separate it with our identifiers. So I can say, I want this to be the Butler products identifier. I want this to be the category identifier and our new to be named name category. So let's go and do that. I'm going to go and say, is this a search? Is this a search bar or is this just a...
It may not be.
Like
Yeah, I think I didn't do that part right.
No problem at all. So we're going to add a form input here. There we go. And this form input, I'm going to add this attribute that we've been adding everywhere, CMS filter field. And this field is now going to search for our categories, I think it is, but we'll check that, our Butler products, and we'll go create a name one here. And this is services, not even close.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, services. Services. There we go. Spelling mistake.
Bolter
I'm
products.
telling you, you have to be, this looks like Butler products, but it's Boulter products. Butler products. That would have not worked. Okay, good. And now we have to add our name, right? We have this new name filter field.
And that's just
So it's all about...
That's a good troubleshooting mechanism. If you're having trouble with your attributes, if there's something that doesn't work, first step should be go check your spelling. Go check the spelling, go check your dashes, go check this is what the technicalities of coding is, right? It's like, this is one of the hard parts is the semantic structure. It has to be perfect. So yeah, first step first, if you're troubleshooting any of this, is go through and check all the spelling and the naming.
Okay, so we are going to search and clear. I'm just going to add this right now because I know it. FS CMS filter element reset, easy.
Great.
So this is going to reset everything. It's a master reset. We can also set up resets by each filter group here. We can also look at that. But first, let's test. Okay, great. Let's test our search. And our search on a reload. Let's do ADL. Nice. ADL influx. Let's do re-roofing. Re-roofing. Great. So this search is in fact working.
And try just try MR-24, so not the whole thing, just MR-24 or MR.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Hey,
Great.
Joe, Melissa was asking no spacing between the commas there, right? When you were doing the comma values, does a space matter in the attributes when you're doing multiple selectors there?
We have made this to just account for any of these types of inputs. Alex answers, there can be spaces. So we try not to be really specific about exactly how it has to happen. There's flexibility in it. Just like the identifier, you can be flexible with what it is as long as it's the same exact thing. So that's going to work. We'll see that on the next publish. We have our clear button in with our reset. And let's go in and let's go create these active tags. Let's see this working. Filter.
The attributes aren't case sensitive, right? Are the attributes case sensitive or no, Joe?
Well, I believe it depends for identifiers. Alex is the best one to answer that.
He's saying regular attributes like fs-cms filter are case sensitive. So the value on
Names.
your end is not necessarily, but the actual attribute name is.
All right, we're going to set up these tag templates. They're super simple. They're going to add such a custom feel to your filter system. It's amazing what you can do in a very short period of time here. So this is going to be our active tag. I forgot to look what this value is. Tag template. Tag template. Even close.
Mustafa's over here saying he's ordering pizza. That's too funny because he's up next. He's on one of the next ones. So if you see him come up and it's his turn, he's eating pizza, you know he's on it. 8 p.m. in South Africa. I can go all night. All right, let's go. Ukulele. Harshit is saying, let's add the search highlighting as well, please.
Sure.
So, on this one, it would be good because some of those searches, like I saw earlier, you were like looking to see like, oh, did it actually pull for this one? So that search highlight might be good for that. We are going to lose Alex teaching class. I'm assuming that's a dance class. Alex, if y'all don't know, go check out Alex's Instagram. Let's see. Edgar saying Finsweet TV finally. Hey, listen, we're working on these things, you know. And the TSP breaks for everyone. WKD, do I hear 24-hour marathon? Listen, I don't know. Y'all have to keep showing up.
So in that time that we were talking about that, the active tag system is set up. That's how quick it is. That was under a minute. And what we've done here is we've applied the attribute FSCMS element to all three elements here. And the value here is tag template. The text inside is tag text. Come on, Webflow. Okay, it's not opening, but it's tag text. And this close button is tag remove. So all I've done is followed this structure. Tag template nested inside a tag text, tag remove, apply the attribute to each one of them. And now it's going to turn on our active tag system. So let's see. I want to think that this did publish. Okay, you can see we're starting with nothing now. This is a good sign. That means it's recognizing something. And when I go and click these, you'll see the active tags can join the party. There we go. Look at this.
That is so amazing.
And we can style these. We have some, you know, these are not wrapping, but we can wrap it. Absolutely. There are no style requirements. These can be anywhere. These can be like floating on the page. You can put some JavaScript on the page and it's floating in midair and you can tap the active closes. There are no limitations here. We can close them and there we go. The key is this is your template. So this whole thing that we apply, tag template, is literally your template for this. So just like CMS, you can style that however you want and you can bring that functionality into that style. So great, we're awesome. If you see some flickering, you're able to hide this. So you can set this initially to an opacity of 0. If this is at the top of your page and you have this and it flashes quickly, opacity is 0. We already have it set up to identify opacity 0 and put it to opacity 1. Okay, great. So we are looking pretty good. We have a request for text highlight. We're definitely going to cover active class. Let's do active class. Here we have active class and we're going to apply FS CMS filter active class name. Now, this is going to put a class on the element when that element is filtering the list. We're going to put it on the same element that has FS CMS filter field identifier. So let's go do that exactly. We're going to go to settings here and we're going to apply this. And the active class is going to be is active. Do you think you have a class in your build called is active?
No, I'm
Okay.
fairly certain I wouldn't.
Okay. we have is active coming as our active class. So I will go in here and we'll have is active. And I'm going to add it to each one of these because we have the 3 different lists here. Is active, and let's go is active. Nice. Now we actually need to create some style for is active. This is just how CSS works. There needs to be something on this class style-wise to make any type of visual change. So I'm going to give this is active. I'm going to style it from a global level first, and then I'm going to show you how this can also be used as a combo class. So let's go and make this black with, let's say, white color. Cool. So now this is what it's going to look like. I've applied it to the label. For checkboxes and radios, this class is applied to the checkbox field. We've made a special rule for checkboxes and radios to make sure that this is really where you want this active class to be. So I'll preview how this is going to look for me. There we go. So when we go and filter this grid, it will look like this. Okay. Question, Penny?
Nope.
Okay.
There is one from Nicholas here. Does the nested collection content need to be shown inside the main list in order for the filter to pull it? If you rewind the video here, you'll see how we did that nested stuff. You load a list at the bottom of the page there. You assign a div, and that's where that content comes in too. So yeah, you can, if you want, Nicholas, there, rewind back, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and we were going through that setup in real time there.
What I think Nicholas is specifically asking about, does this have to be visible in the final list? And actually, in Penny's case, Penny does not want to show this content. Come on. So we're going to hide this content. We're going to continue working and watch how this works. Great. Let me reload Webflow here. This is a question that a lot of people ask. The content just needs to live inside of the list. It doesn't matter if it's display block, display flex, display none. Just needs to be in the item. Okay, this is hidden. Let's go and drag our empty div block, which will receive the nested items, the nested list, and then this collection list. We just don't want these here. Done. Still going to work. Okay, I want to think that we did not get a publish through. Maybe we did. Let's see. And I forgot what were we testing?
Active state?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. There we go.
There we go.
Nice. So we still see the checkbox here. You can hide this checkbox. You can opacity 0 the checkbox. You can display none the checkbox. We're going to be releasing some additional content to talk about your options for this in the lens of accessibility. There are some ways to manage your checkbox instance that is not acceptable, not accessible. And we're going to tell you exactly, if you do it like this, it will be accessible. If you do it like this, it will not be accessible. This will be brand new content. We may have a video dedicated to this. But this is working. We have our active class. It's working everywhere. Now, notice how this, let's clear this and also test that. Nice. Let's type this and let's see that this search does not have an active class. Right? This is just not, there's nothing active about this. I can apply an active class also to my search. So let's go and do that. I'm going to create another one of these. I can also use isActive if I wanted to, but I'm going to create something else here, and I'm going to say isActive search. And this is going to have order of blue. And now we go add this active class here, and we'll see how quick and easy it is to go do that. is active search. So now when we go and use our search input, we're actually going to see when that search input is actively being searched through. Great. And while we're on the search input, while we're playing with this, let's go over the active tags that Harshit asked about, or the search highlight that he asked about. Okay, no dates, no range. We have our reset in there. We can set reset by identifier. If anybody wants to see a reset by identifier, let me know that. Very easy. What do we have? Highlight. There we go. So we have our CMS filter highlight true. Where do we add this? We add it on the field identifier. We can actually add this to any field identifier, even something like a radio or a checkbox. And if you click that checkbox, it's going to highlight whatever that checkbox is returning. But we're going to do it specifically for this search input. So I'll go and add a new attribute. Okay, so I've added two attributes here to this search input. We have our highlight true, turning that feature on, and then optionally defining the class, which is now is active text. So what we're going to do is, again, define this class. I'm adding these classes like this. There's a few ways to manage your classes. This is how I prefer to do it. And what I would do is I would put all three of these active classes in a hidden div on this page so that they can be saved in the event that the classes are removed. So let's go is active text. And what kind of text highlight are we going to do here? Let's do something a bit dramatic so we do see it working. And we're only going to see this action on the name, right? Because the other ones are hidden. That's okay, that will work. All right, so let's publish that. We'll see that working. Is active text, good. Just so we have this, I can go and put this in hidden. Great. Whoa. Where did I go here? Great. So we can put these in here. Great. And I want to think that this is published. Yes, it is. All right, we have a lot to check here. Best, this blue line should stay. There we go. So we didn't have it very thick here, but you can see there is a blue line. That was our is active text search class. And you can see that if we remove this, this blue line will go away. So this active class is actually working, and we have two different active classes managing different elements in our project. Great. Okay. Now the text highlight. So now we're going to search by name, and we want to see this name highlighting on the returned keyword. So let's do custom here. And this is, oh, maybe this didn't go through. Yeah, maybe this one's not live yet. No. Okay, quick check here. Did not catch on to my custom class here. So it is defaulting to the default client, the default attributes class. I don't know why. I am not sure, but for now is active text. For now, we're just going to change it to this. If this is a bug, we will fix it very fast. So we're going to change our is active text. I'm going to put my default class that we're given in client in attributes, and this is now going to work. And each one of these has an active class, has a default class. We set is active search, but we have a default that you can use if you do not want to set these. Okay, so let's search this again. Let's do the custom. There we go. So now we have our active class. So our custom active class was not working. We'll look into that. Maybe that's a bug. Maybe I missed a step or did something wrong. But there we go. Great. And we'll see that as we search for things and don't search for things, it can get really specific as to what is being returned. As I'm removing things, it's saying exactly what's being returned here.
Yeah. This is huge. I mean, this is big stuff. This is stuff people pay lots of money for filter systems like this.
Yep. And I'm going to show one more thing. As you can see, when I'm typing, I'll go down here. As I'm typing, we have a flash on every single keystroke. And the reason is attributes is so fast that it is actively filtering the entire thing immediately after every keystroke. That's what that is.
Right.
So what we're going to do is apply something called debounce. And debounce is going to set a little bit of a delay on certain fields to make sure that we're giving a good experience to the end user. So let's go and look at how to do that in the docs. We'll go to CMS filter, and we are going to go to debounce. I want to wait a certain amount of time until the filter results update. So we're going to take debounce, we're going to do 200 milliseconds, and we're going to set it, in this case, on the field identifier. So I will go and do it to this. This will not affect the other filters. If I were to apply this to the list, it would be a global setting. And even clicking on this would have a 200 millisecond delay. But we don't want that. And actually, we're going to change this to 2000 just so we can really see it working. So this is going to wait 2 seconds until it actually runs the search to make sure that the user has stopped typing. So a good number for this, 200, 300, 400, maybe 500. And I think that's a natural way to let the person finish typing until the results filter. 2000 is a bit too long, though. I do not recommend that. Cool. Let's load this up. And let's now do this new test. So I'm going to focus on this, and let's type custom. Now it updates. So 2 seconds, right? I can type, I just removed everything. I'm going to press C, nothing. Now it goes. U, nothing. Now it goes. And then if I type the rest of custom, filters. So set that appropriately, and that's going to improve the experience for your site big time. And that's it for the Belcon site. Penny, thank you for giving us this perfect example. It was really, really nice to implement this one. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.